Well, good morning, Grapeview friends. Thanks for joining us here on our second Sunday of September. And in our live service, we're going to be doing things a little bit differently. It's a bit more action and with some drama and the kids involved. And so it's not kind of my regular message type of thing, but thought today we'd have Celina and myself would kind of introduce some of the topic and the scripture that we're going to be focusing on in our service today. So I'm just going to start off, Celina, and, have you ever been lost?
Well, I don't think I've personally been lost that I can think of, but I can remember a time where my brother was lost. I think maybe I was 6 and he was maybe 3. We went to a Toronto Maple Leafs game, and they had some sort of a kids program in between the, second and third period or something like that. They had bouncy castles and a bunch of really fun things.
Yes.
But at some point when I was playing, I realized I could not find my brother. And he was supposed to be under my care.
Yes.
I know I was young, but,
Yeah.
my family was still watching the game or whatever.
Yeah.
And I could not find him for the life of me. And I was looking everywhere. I was freaking out because there was so many kids, but nowhere.
Yes.
Calvin.
Okay, so what was your feeling? What were you feeling desperately looking?
Oh, I was just terrified.
Okay.
I was feeling desperate. I was just like, I don't know. I was just so scared
Okay.
of if something happened, if somebody took him, or what was my dad gonna say when I
Right.
tell him
Yes.
I can't find Calvin?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's that feeling of searching and of the experience from that side. I remember a time when Kathy and I were living in Egypt, and I was in the city of Cairo, and I was trying to get from one place to another, and this was before GPS, before cell phones, before anything that might be helpful like that. And so I was literally in the middle of this city of 10 million people with streets that go in 50,000 directions. There's no grid pattern. And I was trying to get from one place to another. And at a certain point, I just realized I was lost. I had no idea which direction to go. And because Arabic wasn't my first language, I would try to tell people, I want to get to this place. And sometimes they could understand what I was trying to say, and sometimes they couldn't. And at that point, I was thinking, okay, this is just going to be a long time. Kathy is there waiting, thinking I'm going to get back sometime. And so I was thinking about her, what she was experiencing. I was thinking how long this was going to take. And as it turned out, I asked somebody where a very identifiable place was. Not the place I was going, but someplace they could specifically, and they pointed me in that direction, then I could find my way from that point. So, there's a lot of different ways that we can be lost. It's a scary thing not to know where we are. And we can be literally lost in the woods, or lost in a shopping mall, or at a Maple Leafs game. We can feel lost if we can't communicate with people around us. Like, that was part of my struggle there. Sometimes if we can't solve a problem, we feel lost. We say that sometimes, don't we? And even trying to find the right ice cream choice when there's 50 kinds of ice cream in front of us. We use the word lost to describe some of that. We can feel lost if we don't belong. I think we've all experienced times when we felt we didn't belong, and there's certain emotions that go through us in those kinds of times. Or you've talked about you searching for your brother's sense of being abandoned. What happened to Celina? We talk about that in regards to being far away from God as well, that kind of distance, feeling lost. So it's interesting. Jesus told 2 parables, 2 stories about being lost and then being found. So I kind of think he knew something about these feelings, whether from maybe he's never been abandoned. I don't know. It says on the cross he called out, God, where are you? And Father, where are you? So let's read we're reading from Luke chapter 15 and those two stories. So let's go ahead.
Okay, so first we have the story of the lost sheep. By this time, a lot of men and women of doubtful reputation were hanging around Jesus, listening intently. The Pharisees and religion scholars were not at all pleased. They growled, "He takes in sinners and eats meals with them, treating them like old friends." Their grumbling triggered this story. Suppose one of you had 100 sheep and lost one. Wouldn't you leave the 99 in the wilderness and go after the lost one until you found it? When found, you can be sure you would put it across your shoulders, rejoicing, and when you got home, call in all your friends and neighbors, saying, "Celebrate with me, I've found my lost sheep." Count on it. There's more joy in heaven over one sinner's rescued life than over 99 good people in no need of rescue.
Thanks for reading there, Celina. So one of the questions that comes to my mind is, why did those religious people not like that Jesus was spending time with this certain group of people that we might call lost people? I don't know, do you have any thoughts on what was going through those people's minds that prompted these stories?
Well, when I think of the Pharisees, I think of people who are very intent on being perfect and trying to do everything right, and they memorized all the scriptures, and they were very critical of other people, I think. So I'm thinking maybe it almost made them feel uncomfortable that Jesus was taking time for the people who were lost or the people who weren't perfect. And maybe it even made them think well, then why do I do this? Does that not mean anything? I don't know. They're just so intent on comparing and being the best. But if Jesus is a friend to people who aren't the best, then why are they caught up in being the best?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's good. That's good. I wonder sometimes maybe they've never had the feeling of being lost themselves and didn't know how bad that can feel, I suppose. The shepherd was concerned about what could happen to that lost sheep, not just the ones who were good and safe, so to speak. I'm sure he was concerned about those who were in the fold, the 99, so to speak, but somehow his inclination or his bias was towards those who had a feeling of being lost or needed help. So then Jesus goes on and he tells another story, and this is from the same chapter, Luke chapter 15, but it's another short story about lost and found.
Okay, this one's called The Story of the Lost Coin. Or imagine a woman who has 10 coins and loses one. Won't she light a lamp and scour the house, looking in every nook and cranny until she finds it? And when she finds it, you can be sure she'll call her friends and neighbors to say, "Celebrate with me, I found my lost coin." Count on it. That's the kind of party God's angels throw every time one lost soul turns to God.
That's good. Thank you. So, what about you? Have you ever lost something in your house and just it's impossible to find?
Yeah, I feel like it's when I'm cooking and I can't find that one ingredient in the fridge. And I know I have it, but I just can't find it.
Yep.
And I need it for that recipe.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have that problem when I'm looking for a specific book. And I have all these bookshelves at home with books on them, and I have all these shelves in my office here with books on them, and I'm thinking of this one particular book, and where is it in all of this? And you keep going through, and I know it's here. there's always that little off chance that I've loaned it to someone and they've never given it back. Then that's really challenging. But yes, that feeling of searching until you find the thing. And that's kind of what this story is about. But we get anxious in that in-between place, because sometimes like, man, am I wasting so much time? I could be just carrying on to the next thing, but we know we can't carry on to the next thing until we've found that thing we're looking for. Mm-hmm. And now this story, in a sense, isn't about the 99 sheep left in the fold and the shepherds away looking for the one. This is really about the woman who we might think is in reference to God, that God is searching and never gives up. Mm-hmm. And I think that's an interesting piece in this story, that it's about the energy that God puts into seeking and welcoming us. And whereas sometimes we might think a lot of the energy that's put into searching is wasting time or money or resources. There's all kinds of ways we do that. But both stories end with that comment about joy in heaven. When one lost is found, the shepherd has his sheep rescued, and this woman who's so excited about this coin that she's found that had value to her. And so the finding that lost sheep, finding the last coin, results in joy, and then a celebration. Not just I'm happy, but they actually want to have a party, yeah. Which is an interesting idea. So they both sort of finish with the idea of joy at finding the lost. And there's something that's in the repetition of those two phrases. When you read Luke 15, the same phrase is repeated in both stories at the end, even though the story is different. And so it tells to me some things about who God is, that connection to the shepherd, but also God as the woman who is seeking. First of all, this notion that God is a seeker. God is the one who's searching, like you were searching for Calvin. There's a certain, wow, does God really feel that sense of desperation and concern for the lost? That's part of what's conveyed in these stories. And then the sense of never getting tired, of needing to search until found. And, I don't know, what was the end of the story with Calvin? Did you find him?
Yeah.
I'm assuming.
Yeah, we found him. I don't remember how, but we did.
But you actually don't give up, right?
Yeah.
Like you keep searching until you find. And so there's something about that persistence of who God is, that he never stops looking. And then this experience of joy that God feels, let's say, or the finder feels, but also the sense of bringing others into the celebration. And so it's interesting when I think about the life of our church, Greatview Church, and this Sunday in our service, our live service, we're going to be having some fun with building blocks and putting the pieces together and thinking about all the different people who are a part of our church, but also, there'll likely be some people who've never been to our church before this Sunday. And how are we going to welcome and include them? And so that's kind of the focus of our thoughts this week. The closing song in our service, you'll find on the website just below the message here, is that song, Build Your Kingdom Here. And it's about the work that God does, the work that we do as part of bringing together the lost, those who are, we might say, who are in the fold already. That's a part of our congregation is made up of people who have found Jesus and have found our family. But our thought, our intent is always, are there others out there who have, who need to be found, I guess is the way to put it. Mm-hmm. And so thank you, friends. I trust that this week, as you walk with the Lord, perhaps we need to be reminded to give attention to those who are outside the fold a bit more this week. And what would it be like if we weren't pursued by God? And how is it that we can be the one who just says, yeah, I think you could find that street if you go over that way. Maybe that's all that we're being asked to do. God's looking for us, but maybe our part is just pointing in the right direction to where God can be found. So take care, friends. Have a good week. We'll speak to you again next week. Bye now.